Hey everybody, Zid Doctor here with Typical Manga Fan, and in this episode we are going to be discussing Inside Mari, Chapter 48, This is Mari, Part 2. Part 1 I presume being the last time this happened with them. Like the phone call happened. Yep. Yeah, like you said, and we'll open up with more or less right where we left off, the incoming call number withheld for coming from Mari.
Are we sure this person doesn't work for Verizon?
Verizon's not the only one that does that. Most companies do that. I work for Verizon. That's the only main reason I know about it, though. Anyway, I said so. Mari's gonna, Mari's gonna inside joke and inside Mari. Nice. Anyway, right. Mari decides she's gonna answer it, or yeah, he's gonna answer it. Yori tells him to go ahead, make sure to put it on speakerphone, so they do. And we get some static, some noise.
Smart move there. I'll tell you that.
Yep. Get some static, some noise, and this is Mari. Like he tries to.
All of us are going right now. What's going on here?
Yep. And then Mari's just trying to get him to get the person on the other end to talk some more, but all this person has to say is, "I have a favor to ask. Look after Isao Komori. He really will turn over a new leaf, so don't think he's just a creep. Try to understand him." All this, you have like the crackling noises and the speech bubbles next to it.
This is a really interesting turn of events. I mean, no, I didn't expect that the call was going to be talking about Isao.
Nope. I don't think Isao did either, which I think is kind of like the big tip-off here of what's about to come.
Because the next thing, how does she know? Yeah, how would this Mari know about the Isao thing too? That's the other question to ask ourselves.
I think that's what tips the off. That's what the tip-off here is.
Yeah.
Because the next thing we do is we see Mari ringing Isao's doorbell. And as soon as Isao answers, well, everybody's panicked because Mari apparently ran over here with Yori right behind her. But then, as soon as everyone's got their breath, Mari starts kicking his ass. Well, at least he slaps him so hard he knocks his lens out of his glasses.
Yeah, and of course we get a biggest reveal because she's furious. Like I've never seen her so angry before. I mean, remember, Mari has been very introverted. The entire time. She is going all out. You can see the anger on her face, and even Yori's like, holy shit, you know? And the reason is, as it turns out, I mean, she was about to attack this guy. Even Yori had to hold her back.
Yep. And
he says he was sorry, and then we're like, what? And it turns out it was him. It was the real Isao, the one we can actually see in you know, as a male. He was the one on the phone the entire time. And she's crying. She's like, you know, he was the one who called me this time and the time before. Both of them. It wasn't Mari.
Right.
It wasn't who I thought it was.
Wasn't who I thought it was either.
I don't know anyone who thought it was. No, well, first off, here's the problem. It's a manga, so we can't listen to the voice and be like, hey, doesn't that sound a little masculine to you?
Well, I think that's why they had the static on there in the first place. So it wouldn't be obvious to someone who was just... You know, we would imagine Isao and Yori hearing this, but with all the static there, it'd probably be hard to make it out as a male or female voice. And even if it was a male voice, Mari thinks there's switching going around, so for all she knows, that could be just where the real Mari wound up.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because, I mean, like, you think, I don't know, like, would a male voice and a female voice be really that hard to tell if there's static going on here? I mean...
I think it doesn't... enough static or bad reception enough, I think it's very possible.
Yet you can still make out the words, so whatever.
But even then, like I said, I mean, with the idea of body switching going around, Mari, it doesn't necessarily matter if it's a male or female voice. It just has to not be recognizable as Isao's voice.
Yeah. Well, one thing we'll say about this though is that neither of us saw this coming. You thought it was a hallucination, right?
Yeah, I thought it was all in Mari's head till we saw the phone ringing end of the last chapter.
And I thought it was the sister Mari, because I was thinking to myself, why would they introduce a second Mari, and how would she get the phone number? But neither of us saw this coming, that it was actually Isao, which makes me ask another question. When did Isao get Mari's phone number? I think, did he ask for her for her phone number? I think there was a scene in which he did ask for a phone number, right?
We know he called her before, didn't we? Because remember, like, the couple chapters back when he was confessing his love outside of her window?
Yeah, you're right, he did call her. Yeah, you're right.
So we know he knew. So we know he knew her number. How he got it beforehand, I'm still not sure about, but he knew her number.
Yeah, yeah. So that was what that. Yeah, I'd like to see the scene. I mean, you know, if any of you guys are listening right now, when you when you maybe reread in some Mari, go back and see, when did he get a phone number?
I mean,
Um,
like I said, if it's gonna be anywhere, it probably would have been around maybe when they were gaming at his house or something.
yeah, probably. Yeah, well, yeah. Did he ask for a number though? Did he ever do that?
I don't know, or if it did, I don't remember.
Because I'm sure back then Mari would have given it to him.
Yeah.
So it's not much. But yeah. Well, what
But
does this?
here's
Yeah.
the thing: I'm looking over that chapter right now, where 44, where Isao called her,
Yeah.
and she has Isao's number in her phone. It comes up incoming
Okay.
call Komori Isao, so that explains why the number was withheld.
Okay.
So they exchanged numbers at some point.
Okay. So and it's sort of interesting that
And again,
Isao. Oh,
actually,
you
I was
saying?
gonna say, then again, Mari would know his number one way or another.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
But it's interesting that it's Isao pretending to be Mari when my theory is that Mari's been pretending to be Isao. So it's kind of like this weird situation where they're both pretending to be each other, at least
I-
for their own purposes, obviously.
Irony.
It's really like I don't know if the author's making this intentional, but you see all these like ridiculous irony, like ironic situations.
Something like this, I can't help but think it's intentional, just because it's like a series like this has to be planned.
Yeah. Well, sometimes some people like they plan an outline,
Yeah,
but they don't really fill in the details until like while they're doing it or later.
but even so,
Um,
like that's the kind of thing that you probably would plan ahead of for.
yeah. But I really like what I'm seeing so far, and of course it is. I feel kind of sad that because I'm not feeling. I don't feel bad for Sal anymore. Now I'm just like, wow, what a dick move to do.
Yep.
Why would you? He should realize that he's making her worse by tricking her into believing that she really isn't Mari, or confusing her, and even more. He's basically screwing her up, and that's why
Yeah.
she's crying because he kind of shattered her world,
Hmm.
or helped shatter her world, and
Yeah.
it's a very selfish thing to do. When he said he was going to turn over a new leaf, I was cheering for this guy, but now that he pulled this kind of stunt off, I'm just like, wow, I kind of don't feel bad for him anymore.
Mm,
I mean, I still feel
I mean-
bad a little bit for him, a little, but I'm just kind of like, that's kind of dirty. Like, it's a kind of dirty
Yeah.
thing to do.
he is at most pitiful at this point.
It's pitiful, and it's actually very it's very in tune with what the author has been writing with when it comes to males in his writing in his manga. But yeah, will he now? That the question is like, yeah, I kind of wanted to see him turn a new leaf, but from what I can tell, it doesn't seem to be going that way. I think, or maybe it is. Maybe he does still turn over a new leaf just to try to prove her wrong, but it doesn't. I'm not. I'm just the fact is I'm just not on this side as much as I used to be. After reading this chapter. I mean, from before reading this chapter, I just yeah, it's kind of sad. But what this does though is it answers the question of who was behind the phone.
Yep.
And now, from what I can tell, it's pushing towards my theory.
Yeah, you're definitely
because
right
now
about that, because it's pushing more and more toward this actually being Mari for real in Mari.
Yeah, because at this point, there's really no other theory out there. Because the Mario on the phone thing was pretty much the last thing standing between my theory actually getting leverage. Oh, it really had a lot of leverage, but it was the last thing that could prevent it from actually being true. Now that that is out of the way, there's nothing left. There's no other option that the story has right now. At this point. So I don't know. With this being solved, I don't know how much longer this manga is going to last, because
Right.
what are they going to do now?
Next, like, what other unanswered questions are there other than where is Mari? I mean, depending on what we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
Um,
Will it come back to how does she like her coming to terms that maybe she is Mari after all, and her returning to the way she was, or finding a way to do something about it, or this is really sad because Isao in a way kind of made the distance. He increased the distance between fake Isao and real Isao. Like he increased the distance between them. They could have maybe come up with a friendship, and maybe
Yep.
actually talk to each other. But
he just ruined it with that.
he ruined it. I mean, I hate it when people play dirty. And when it comes, I get that they're in depression. I get that they feel bad. But when they do this, it pisses me off, and this has been done in a lot of things. I mean, that trope where a guy feels bad. I mean, feels bad about his relationship, so he like pretends to be her to trick the girl into like worrying about him. I hate it when they do that. I hate it when they do that. It makes me lose all interest in the guy. So like, it's just as bad, because he knows she's in a lot of she's in a mental
Yeah. Well,
she's not really mentally stable right now.
well, like I said, it depends on how much Isao buys into the whole body thing himself. But at the same time,
Yeah,
one way or the other, I don't even think that would have factored into it because Isao is kind of self-centered.
yeah, he's not something. But it's not even that he buys in, because even if he didn't buy into the fact that she, whatever, you could tell that she's mentally unstable. You could tell just from, yeah, the fact that she would even come up with that story, the fact that she would do the things she did to him and around him, should tip him off saying there's something's wrong with this girl. She's, yeah, she's not in her right mind right now, and he should know that. It's not.
Yes.
Yeah, but and it's his fault that he doesn't know that, because was too selfish and too blind to see the truth. So yeah, just the more I talk about Sal, the more I'm just like, wow, that's this guy. I felt bad for you at first because yeah, you really didn't have any friends. You wanted friends. Now I'm just like, well, do you even deserve those friends?
Well, I still kind of pity him, but I don't really feel. I don't. There's kind of a distinction. Feel sorry means you want to see them kind of improve. Pity them means you pretty much decide there's no hope.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll stick with the I pity him too, which is so. Now that we got Isao out of the way, I guess we probably won't be seeing him for around much around.
Not for immediate future anyway, depending on how this goes. Of course, if it weren't for the fact he was saying I'm sorry, I would begin to wonder if he'd try and defend himself or try and lie his way out of it.
Oh, come on! If he's gonna do that,
Yeah, he loses all sympathy at that point.
yeah, we'll definitely not see much of him around. Yeah.
And if Isao does leave the picture, that brings us back to just how much longer will this last? Because, that's with Isao out of the picture, Mari's pretty much just got her own issues to worry about at this point.
Yeah. I think we're going to the climax. I think we're getting close. It depends on how he's gonna pace it, but I think a lot happened in this. Well, not a lot happened. A lot in terms of plot progression happened in this chapter.
Yeah, easily.
This is amazing. It's like it's so much like anti-Bleach. It's ridiculous. All she did was run to his place and slap him.
And even then, like the big plot progression, the big reveal is like the last page.
Yeah, but it answered a lot of questions. So yeah, but I can only see it going one direction now, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously there could be some differences on how he's going to take it, but ultimately I think it's just going to go to, well, Mari has to come to terms that she's the actual Mari, and maybe it's her having to handle with the fact that she's stuck in this life that she has, or maybe she can find out a way to, I'm Mari, but that doesn't mean I'm stuck to this life. I can change the way I live. I don't know, something like that.
Or if we're going for a more tragic development, she just falls right in the same trap and do something else again.
Oh my gosh, and copies someone else. Oh man, yeah. But I think that stuff's gonna be left to just like the last chapter or like an epilogue. For now, where we're going in terms of how if there's like 10 chapters left, I want to know where we're going for like the next 9.
Yeah, like I said, at this point, there's only one real mystery, and that's what is the deal, if any, with Sister Mari.
Yeah, because she seems to be like maybe she was just simply a red herring, but at the same time, it's kind of boring, kind of bland if you just have her just to screw around with the phone thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, why is she named Mari? What was the author's intent? Was it just to simply screw around with the fact that maybe she could have been the one on the phone?
Was he a red herring, basically? Yeah. That's one thing I was wondering about myself. Like, was Sister Mari just one big red herring?
She has red hair too? Interesting, I think, right?
I don't know. Pretty much I always assume black or brown, unless some things differently.
It's because it's black and white, so whatever. She could also dyed her hair, so whatever. But it'd also be kind of a funny thing. But but that's more of Yori though. That's if we're going to Yori's storyline. So that actually might be the next thing. We're going to the parents who we still haven't really.
That's another thing as well, because remember, we were wondering if there was any kind of abuse going on.
Yeah, so parents and Yori, and I think maybe these two things together will actually cause her to to realize that she's the real Mari. It'll help her. It will bring her along the way. Yeah. I think that's what she'll use, and she'll remember like, oh wow, they abused me, or something, and like, oh, so this is the reason why Mari or I was really depressed, and this is probably why I ended up being Isao, because I didn't want to deal with this. So yeah, I think these two storylines, story arcs, are going to probably bring us to the end of the manga, to the final climax, which
Yeah,
she really comes to terms with her being Mari. Because I think at this point the theory is, it's like the only thing left, to be honest with you, is the confirmation. Like it's all there. This entire all of it's there. It's.
yeah. So
So
I'm kind of agreeing with you on this. I do think that's where this is heading. Like I said,
yeah.
there's still possible some wiggle room, but I'm not sure what other theories there are at the moment.
Yeah. Of course, now the author has to keep this interesting, because now that any essentially most people would realize this, it's like, okay, now that we know that or we feel that it's come really close to the fact that she is the real Mari. How is he going to keep this interesting? How is he going to keep us into the manga? And so far, this is what he has to go through right now, because we basically revealed the final, like we broke down through the final obstacle.
Yep.
So now we have to get something moving on. Some type of new conflict. So I think this is where we'll be going, and hopefully he does it really well. He has a good he has a really good track record with his manga so far, and yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah, like I said, we got some questions on here, but like I said, we got some answers though. That's always a nice thing to get in a manga like this.
Yep.
All right, but at this point though, like I said, we still got a couple ways we can go about this. Definitely some. If you're right and we're nearing the climax, we definitely got some wind down to come our way. To anyone listening out there, what do you think the hell is going on? Like what are your theories about Mari, Isao, or just anything involving this manga? Like I said, if there are any good ones, we'll probably bring up next chapter we do.
Yep.
Hey, go ahead and take us away.
Bye.